this session is going to be very informative. You will have everything that you need at the end of the session to make your resume look job ready. And that's one of the most essential things for us as as we're looking out for a job. So let's begin without wasting any other time. Now, my name is Gwyneth. You can call me Gwen. All right. I work for Intern Match. I work in the client success team and I head that team here. So we're a bunch of really very focused, fun individuals at Intern Match. So please feel free to come over and say a hi. And we are the delivery partner of the Study Melbourne Career Catalyst programs, which is why we're having this webinar today. Most importantly, before we begin, first of all, let's do an acknowledgement of country. So I respectfully acknowledge that I'm hosting this webinar on the traditional land of the Kulin Nation, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, emerging, and elders from other communities who may be joining us. If at any point in time you think I'm going really fast, you can't hear me, if you want me to slow down, please put it in the chat box and I will, try to tone it down. Okay, now having that done, this is something which is very exciting and very interesting. So the Study Melbourne Career Catalyst Scholarships awards 15 talented international students and recent graduates with an enrollment into Intern Match's Work Readiness Program. This is a very effective program, you guys, for you to just sort of get an internship and get a foot in the door. So it's one of my favorite programs here at Intern Match, and we're going to be awarding 15 talented international students to win this. All you have to do is just scan this QR code. And if you can't really scan it, and if you've logged in from your mobile phones and you're having trouble really scanning it, just take a screenshot and come back to it after the session gets over. So all you need to do right now, because the applications are open, is to attend a webinar in person, or even if you're present here today is also fine. Like I said, take a screenshot of this and you can apply for this particular scholarship. I think it's fantastic if you're looking for an internship, and I know that's one of the reasons why you're all here today. So this is a very interesting program. You have all the components you need to feel prepared for the real world career environment. We offer hands-on experience within an Australian business, and in turn, you can actually enhance your experience, your skill sets, and understand more about your career in depth. Very easy methods in terms of how you should be applying for this scholarship. All you need to do is to have your current resume. If you don't have one, well, you can always book a career development session with some of our career coaches here present at Intern Match. We run these sessions on Monday between 5 to 7, as well as on Wednesdays between 5 to 7. So feel free to go ahead and book a 30-minute session with our career coaches, where we look at your CV, and if you don't really have one, we look at what your experiences are and try to help you build a CV and send you a resume template that can also actually give you a push in terms of wanting to get a CV ready. So once you get your resume and your CV ready, you will sort of have to upload a video where you talk about, how will this work readiness program help you, what are the skills and attributes that you'll bring to your internship, and things of that sort. So it's a nice way to sort of put yourself out there. But for starters, please do send us your applications, and hopefully you are one among the lucky 15. Now, what are we doing for today? Our agenda for today is really, very simple. We're going to be looking at the most important parts of your CV. Once that, we're going to be listing relevant information that you need to have on your CV so that you get job ready. Number 3, we're going to look at building a layout for your resume, showcasing yourself with great action words. What are some of the words that will actually stand out in your resume, and the things that you can actually take out, and then final tips. So these are some of the things that you could actually put on your CV. So let's look at what else can we do now. All right, sorry, got back to that slide again. You obviously know how important your resume is because it is the first impression you're providing to your potential employers. So, you want to make sure that you stand out. You want to make sure that you have a great introduction. You want to make sure that you're portraying yourself really well. So that's one of the key essentials of why we have a resume. Literally every single person needs a resume. Even if you're a CEO, you need one. Even if you're starting as a junior associate or an executive, you need one. So this is your one 2 second fame of glory where you talk about yourself and create the first impression. So some of the essentials that you need, when you make your resume is also another thing is a resume is also called a CV. For those of you who don't know, both the words can be used at the same time. So you need to enlist a lot of things that basically talk about you, which means that your work experience, your education, your skills, and your achievements. Make sure that you have that about yourself written on your CV. You'll also need a resume for almost any job application. Like I mentioned earlier, even if you're a CEO, even if you're starting as a mid-career, even if you're starting as a junior, you will need a CV because that basically talks about you, your experience, the things that you've studied, and all of the professional journey that you've been on. More often than not, you will also need a cover letter that goes with your CV. If you're not sure what a cover letter is and you're confused how to build one, don't worry, we've got you covered in this webinar. So nowadays we've seen a trend where essentially you need to supply both. You need to have a cover letter as well as a CV. So here is the difference between a resume and a cover letter. Now, a resume is a very broad overview of your educational and career history. It talks about your work experience. It talks about your professional development, the things that you've done the things that you've done back in your high school, right? So it talks about everything that you've done in terms of your professional journey. A cover letter, on the other hand, focuses specifically on the job that you're applying for. Okay, you can utilize it into a long form content and narrative. It's a short little paragraph and gives the employer a summary of who you really are and the job that you're applying for. Now, a little fact here, which can be a little scary, but don't worry, we're here to help you fix this up. Now, when recruiters see a CV, on an average, they take about 6 seconds to quickly scan through a resume. Now, out of those, out of that 6 seconds, they sort of have that impression whether this person can be hired or else this person can now be shortlisted for an interview, right? So you need to be very quick in terms of, having your resume up to date with all this sort of information that you need so that it is relevant for someone to know that they need to interview you within that 6 seconds. So these are some stats again out here. That talks about how a CV is actually shortlisted. So a corporate job openings attracts about 250 resumes. Out of this 250 resumes, within that 6 seconds, an interviewer will actually shortlist around 4 to 6 to be there present for an interview. And out of the 4 and 6, only one will get the job offer. Now, how do you know that you're the number one? Because you want to be the number one. Well, here's how we could do it. Before we start, again, please feel free to take a screenshot or to scan this. This is a resume template that we have prepared out here for each one of you. So feel free to do this. You can also download it with this link. For those of you who have logged in from your phones, I will highly recommend to take a screenshot so that you can come back to it later. If you're on your laptop, you can absolutely scan this and keep it aside. It's already there. If you want to have a rerun of this video, we will have this uploaded on YouTube as well, in case if you're missing out on anything, so you want to go back and sort of revisit certain slides that we're going to be talking about, you always have access to that. So you've got a resume template here which you can download. We've made this on Canva. It's very easy. You can absolutely download this template and then, it will actually help you in building your CV if you don't really have a template ready. Now, so what do you include in your resume? If you ask me, a very important question. So your resume should include the following sections. Please make a note of this, and this is a nice time to sort of write these things down. If you've got any questions, please feel free to pop it in the Q&A or in the chat, and we'll come back to that later. Now, six essential things that is a must have in your resume. We are looking at contact information. It's important, right? Like if I'm an interviewer and you sent me your CV and I need to contact you, there has to be some sort of contact information. Career summary or objective. This basically is a short summary or a short paragraph that talks about yourself. What's your career summary like? What was your objective? What do you want to get into? Work experience, any work experience that you've had in the past, education and qualification, all of us have got that, right? Even if you're currently studying in a university, have that on your CV. Work experience, you've got any part-time job, have that on your CV. Even if you worked as a full-time employer in the country that you're coming from, please ensure that you have that on your CV. Yeah, any work experience is good work experience. This shows that you worked before and you're not starting as a fresher. Professional development, this is all your certificates that you have accumulated over the past. If you're doing any courses, which basically means that you're doing anything which is beyond your course, you're taking an online course, have those professional development certificates on your CV, as well as any technical skills that you have. We'll get into each of this as we go. Now, contact information, like I said, the most important, because if I have to get in touch with you and I have to reach you, I definitely need to have either your mobile number or your email address. Technically, I would highly recommend to have both. So your contact information should be at the top of the page, clear and simple to access. There is no need for you to put your address, but you can absolutely have your location. So here's how we need to do this. Ensure you include your full name in using your preferred name, as in the name that you want somebody to call you with. So have that name, your phone number, your email address. Ensure that there are no typos in your phone number or in your email address, because that is your first point of contact. So ensure that there are no typos and that's clearly specifically mentioned on your CV. A link to your LinkedIn profile as well as your location, which is only your city. Even if you just say Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, that's more than enough. You really don't need to have your whole address on it. No one's coming to your home. You just need to let them know which city you're in currently. Now, this is technically a typical way of a resume layout. So like I said, you have your first name and your last name, mention that in clear, bold letters. You've got your area of expertise. It could either be digital marketing, for some of you in finance, you could have finance, in accounting, you can have what your specialization is right below your name and your last name. You have your number, you have your email address, your LinkedIn profile, as well as your location, which is just Melbourne, Victoria. Even if you just keep it as Melbourne, Victoria, that's more than enough. Take a look at how we've got this. We've got a summary. Write a bit about you, where you currently are in your career. If you're currently studying in the university, that's fine. Just say that I am a second year graduate, or I am a master's student at the University of Melbourne or at Deakin University. Whatever your university is, have that mentioned there. Where are you currently working? What is the field of the study that you're doing? That would be a little summary of yourself. Then you start with the work experience. Now, if you want to have access on your hands on this particular template, it was provided in the link prior to this, which is this. So this is the template basically that you'll get if you scan this or click this link. It will automatically get you access to this little page. So feel free to tweak this as per your contact details and as per your information. Now, the most important part of your CV is a career summary or an objective. Now, what really happens here is we've given you two examples. Before we get into it, here are two examples. You explain your career journey and your plans. So for an experienced professional, if you've got years of experience, you've come here with 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years of work experience, the one on your left is an example of how your career summary looks like. For ones who are recent graduates, who are freshers, who have no experience whatsoever, this is what you could use. So let's look at the one on the right, the ones who are freshers with no experience. You can simply say, I am a proactive, motivated, and skilled HR graduate. Again, if you are not in HR, if you are in marketing, you can say, I am a skilled marketing graduate, having recently completed my master's in marketing from the University of Melbourne. Mention your university, like I mentioned. With a can do attitude, I am fascinated by people management and excited to commence my career in talent management to leverage my skills in supporting the HR manager. Now, the last paragraph, obviously, you can tweak it. You can tweak it. For those in marketing, you can say that with a can do attitude, I am fascinated by how consumer behavior works like, and I would like to generate leads, and I would like to do a lot more creative brand management for a company in the e-commerce sector, for example. So tweak the second paragraph with what you're more fascinated by when you are in the job. Like absolutely, when you're in the course, you know why you're here, you know what is driving you, what is the motivation like. So have that in your example for your career summary. So this is how it looks like. That's where your career summary will come. It has to be at the topmost level because after your contact information, this is where your 6 seconds of fame really is. This is where your interviewer will actually look at your career summary and get a little understanding of who you are and what are you looking for. Education and qualifications, absolutely a big must to have on your resume. So keep your education and qualification information short. You don't really have to mention too much about it. You can include university degrees, you can include any equivalent training that you've undertaken, high school qualification, and industry based qualification. So talk about your high school as well. Let that be in your CV because people would like to know where you've studied and what you studied. Now, do not forget to include the following information on each in education entry. You're talking about your education provider name. For example, we've got an example sample right down, Bachelor of Business in Marketing, La Trobe University from 2020 to 2022. You don't need to have the month on it. Even the year from where you started till you finish is fine. For those who are still studying, you can say year 2023 slash present, right? So this is technically the way that you would ideally have to give an overview of the education provider and the course that you're studying. Right. So this is again how education and qualifications will look like. Like you can see here, you have your education provider name, the degree or the qualification. So I'm starting, say, at University of Melbourne. I'm doing my bachelor's in computer science from 2023 to say 2025. Just that, right? So right below your career summary, your education and qualifications, and feel free to add as many as you can, right? So have your high school, have any other equivalent or any training that you've done here, add all of them. Work experience. Now, this is your work experience to date. Add everything. Keep it in the chronological order with your most recent role at the top. So don't start with the one that you started back in your hometown or in your home country when you just graduated out of your, say, your college. Have the most recent one right on the top. So we need to focus on who, what, when, where. That's your summary. A short explanation of the company. Give a little, maybe a one or a two liner of what was the objective, in that company that the role that you were performing, and your task and your responsibilities. Let's look at this a little in depth. Now, this is your work experience layout. Like if you see an example, this is where we've broken it down. Now, let's look at me. Say I am a marketing intern and I am a marketing intern at Intern Match. So what am I doing here? So I have my profile, my company name right on the top on my profile, which is Intern Match. I'm a marketing intern. I started in March and I left in June 2022. So I've got that. For those of you who are still working, it could just be the start of the month till slash present, all right, because you're still working there. And obviously, I'm in Melbourne, so I've got that there. Now, I'm going to give a little background about Intern Match because more often than not, your interviewer may not know the company, especially if it's the company in your hometown. It's quite obvious and quite natural for your interviewer to not know what that company was all about, whether it was an e-commerce, whether you're working in fashion, whether you're working in advertising, was it a financial, was it a consulting company, right? So give a little background about that. Another tip for you is if you don't really know how to, give a background of the company that you're working for, go on your company's website and take the first two lines from the About Us section. That is where you can describe your company in a short summary like this. So A sentence explaining what the company and who the company really is InternMatch is a global edtech company focused on increasing employment and career outcomes through internship placements. So if you really can't frame this by yourself, if you feel like, oh, I don't really know how to word it, go to your company's website, the About Us section, or go to LinkedIn of your company. Take the About Us section. The first two lines in that paragraph is specifically what can go here. All right, so now that's sorted. Let's look at your responsibilities and achievements. I would say 4 to 5 dot points is the max that you could keep it. Don't go beyond it. Anything more than 4 to 5 sounds will look like an essay. So keep it brief, keep it concise, keep it short and sweet, and keep it to 4 to 5 dot points. So this is a little example of how it looks like. So I've assisted in doing this. I've assisted in doing all these marketing roles. I'm not going to really get in depth to it because it's focused more on a marketing role, but 4 to 5 points that highlight your responsibilities and your achievements would be great. What are the other things that you could involve? Other things that you could actually include in your CV. One is projects. Now, talk about the projects that you've done in your university. If there's something that you've already done in the past, include those. Again, write the name of the institution that you've done your project in, what was your role there, and for how long you've done it. If you've done it for 4 months, add it. If you've done it for 1 month, add it. As many projects as you've done, which is of relevant information, get it all on your CV. So have your projects enlisted again, not more than 4 to 5 dot points. 4 to 5 dot points is more than enough to sort of give an overview of what your project was really and what you did in that project. Volunteering. I will highly recommend those who have got volunteering experience, anything that you've done. If you've done something with the Red Cross, with Salvos, with Rotary, have that on your CV, and any extracurricular activities. If you've done peer mentoring, if you've mentored somebody back home, if you're mentoring another junior student in your university, have that. So if you really want to get into volunteering projects, if you really want to do more extracurricular, go back to your university, talk to your dean out there, talk to your professors out there. They would know a lot of projects that you could actually be actively involved in, so that you could have something to talk about, and you can find something that really suits your interest, so that you have something of relevant information that you could put on your CV. Next, action words. Now, I cannot stress enough on how important these are. Now, look at your CV. All right. When you're making your CV, make sure that it has a tone to it. It has a certain flow to it. Now, we've jotted down a couple of action words here, which are very, very professional, and they will also sort of grab eyeballs of an interviewer. Words like delivered, organized, created. These are very professional words. Like, I have organized a certain thing in a volunteering project that I've done. I have maximized sales. I have transformed. I have conceptualized. All these words, please take a screenshot of this particular slide because I feel it's really important when you make your CV. Have these words in a certain format. If you're starting with past tense, have it all in the past tense. For the jobs that you've already done back home, have it all in the past tense because you're not doing it anymore, correct? The current job, well, yes, you can keep it in present tense, that I'm designing, I'm facilitating, I'm assisting. That's fine because you're currently still doing it. For the jobs back home that you've already done, it's been a year since you're away from that company, have it all in past tense because you've already done that. So it's very basic etiquette of having a CV sort of streamlined in a way that it's easy to read. So these are some of the action words. In case if you're confused on how do you start a sentence on your CV, start with collaborated, start with negotiated, start with consulted. One of my favorite words are conceptualized, designed, facilitated, delivered, maximized, generated. These all show ownership. These words show that you've got the power, that you've actually taken on leadership task in your job. So ensure that you've got these covered in your CV, and you can always and absolutely start your dot points with these words. So again, another nice slide, which is buzzwords versus action verbs. So here's what you got, like responsible for, well, you can start with managed, achieve, executed, transform. So you can make these changes as you go. proven track record, well delivered, spearheaded, supported. Let's use collaborated and partnered. Now, how awesome it is if you say supported the lead generation of a project in my company. Instead of saying supported, if you say I partnered or I collaborated, it sounds great, right? It sounds professional. It sounds that as if you're taking ownership. You've done that task, you know more about it. So this may sound very little to you, but trust me, you guys, it actually goes a long way for an interviewer when they actually look at your CV. And this is the whole reason why we're doing this webinar is to get your CV job ready. And these small little changes will actually go a long way. You'll see the minute you start making these changes, putting it on your CV and going and applying for jobs, you will see a lot of calls that will come through because you've formatted and drafted your CV in a certain manner. Now, excellent communication, influence, empowered, negotiated, duties included, designed, delivered, facilitated. So all these are very action related verbs. It shows that you've done action. It shows that you've taken ownership. Now, professional and technical skills. Well, now this is a nice way to sort of break the gap between what are professional skills and what are technical skills. Now, professional skills basically would be, some of the skills that you've learned on the job. Like say, for example, a marketing professional, you've learned Canva, you've learned how to use marketing tools, you've learned how to use ChatGPT. So something that is very specific to your role, something that you could teach, something that has got an ability for you to perform a task. All of these come under a professional skill set. What are your technical skill sets? Technical skill sets are nothing but something where you're a good communicator, you're a good listener, you're empathetic, you've got team spirit, you've got sportsmanship. All of these would come under your technical skill set. So there is a fine line, but also we can mix the two up. On your CV, ensure that you keep them separate. Keep professional skill sets separate, keep technical skill sets separate, because both have their own sort of pros and cons, and you need them both on your CV. Another example of technical skills versus professional skill sets. So again, technical skills for those who know Microsoft. It could be Word, it could be PowerPoint, it could be Excel. You know that? Added. Bookkeeping, Java, SQL. So now we have got a bunch of other technical skills that's not only very marketing centric, but if you think you can relate to it, this one's for you. Digital marketing. Do you know SEO? Have you used HubSpot? Have you used MailChimp, Canva, Adobe Suite, employee assessment? So all these technical skills, which is like, okay, say for example, if you are a data analytics student and you've learned Power BI, or if you are a computer science student and you learn how to do networking, you learn how to do programming, and there are certain skill sets over there that you is very specific to your course, that's specific to your job, have it under technical skills. Your professional and soft skills, on the other hand, is leadership. I'm good with leadership. I'm good with communication. I can speak publicly. I can facilitate. I'm a team worker. I collaborate really well. These are your professional and soft skills. Now, both are very important because you also want, like an interviewer would also want somebody who's very technical on the job, who has got experience, who can actually learn fast, but you also want someone with leadership. You also want someone who can own. You also want someone who can speak. You also want someone who can manage a project. So both of these together, when you marry both the skills together, it looks like a very glorified individual, a very glorified candidate. And that's what you want your interviewer to know, that, hey, I know Java, but you know what? I can also lead, I can also project manage. So that's when you get these two together and it becomes like a good candidate. So I'm going to leave this here for a second or two so that you take a look at the slide and understand it more in depth. If you've got any question with regards to your specific skill sets and you don't know where that fits, please put it in the Q&A and we'll come back to that. Now, the do's and the don'ts of resume. Now, I'm just very quickly going to go to the Q&A, and I remember Gurpreet said that you've got so much material and you don't know how to put it in a couple of pages. Gurpreet, this one's really for you. You also said a bunch of questions. Let me see if I can answer them now. Okay, maybe come back to that in a bit. But for you who's mentioned that you've got so much material and you don't know how to put it in pages, well, this is literally for you. Now, the dues of resume writing. What is the dues? Firstly, you need to have it in a PDF document. Once you make it on Canva, you can download it into a PDF document. If you've got it on Word, download it into a PDF document. Do not do the mistake of sending your CV in a Word doc. Always send it in a PDF document. So the Word doc is an absolute no. It's a big cross from our end. Always send it in a PDF document. 2 pages is the best good length that you could go for. Do not get it more than 2 pages. It looks very busy. It's overloaded. It's too long. There's too much for someone to read. And remember the 6 second rule. Your 6 seconds, you've got 6 seconds to impress. So have it in 2 pages. That's a good enough length. Don't go more than two. Clean, simple, neat, consistent font. I cannot tell you the number of CVs I see on an everyday basis where the font is inconsistent, right? The starting summary has another font, objectives have another font, skill sets have another font. Don't do that. It looks very crowded. It's too busy. You can't understand. Your eyes are like looking for the relevant information. By then, I've lost interest in the 6 seconds. Your CV is gone. You can be someone with the best potential. You can be someone who has all the technical skill sets and the soft skills, exactly what I need in my company. But if your CV has got all these various fonts, if it's too long, it's in a Word document, the editing is all off, I don't even want to know, right? I don't even get a chance to see what you're actually trying to tell me, only because your editing has been so poor. Now, you don't want to be that, right? Which is why we strongly suggest to have it clean, simple, and neat. Mention facts, give figures, more the better. Talk in numbers. Don't give any fluffy facts like, oh, I've led a team of like, I've led a team. No, tell me, what's the team that you've led? What's the size of the team? 6 people, 7 people, 10 people. Interviewers can easily understand if you're only giving random facts, you're actually talking the truth. So don't fluff, don't faff. Give the proper examples with figures if you can for some of the things that you can actually give in numbers. A well-written CV always helps. Customized resume for different jobs. So if at all for a digital marketer, all right, like if you want to do take up a job in SEO, customize your CV with more SEO words, with more SEO relevant information. Now, a nice way to do this, what we mean by customize your resume for different jobs is you're applying for 10 different jobs. All the necessary job responsibilities that they have on that job would be different, right? Look at the words that they are using. What is it that they want? And go and tweak your CV accordingly. That way, you will come closest to their responsibilities that they're looking out for. So try to tweak your CV with the kind of responsibilities that they are looking. If they need somebody with cybersecurity experience and you've got that, look at what are the roles that they want you to do. Go and tweak your CV accordingly. That is the only way you could actually come closest to customizing your resume for different jobs. So ensure that these are some of the things that you could use on your CV to better edit it and make it look a little well written and a little more appealing and professional. Now, you can use the help of ChatGPT. A lot of people come to me and ask me if I can use ChatGPT for your CVs. Well, you can use if you're really confused what to use and you really want ChatGPT's help, use it, but don't cut copy paste. The amount of ChatGPT that have been used in CVs is high, so recruiters do understand if your CV is a ChatGPT cut copy paste. There are certain words like additionally. There are certain words which sound really heavy. Those are some of the cues that make an interviewer know that this is a ChatGPT cut copy paste. So look at it, what the app has given you, but tweak it in your ways. Make it sound more like you. Give your flavor, get your essence on it, pour your heart out. It should reflect you, right? If you're really confused and you don't know how to start, you can absolutely use the chat's help, but then tweak it and make it look like as if you are talking to your recruiter, because that way tomorrow if the recruiter is going to ask you questions, you know what exactly they're asking you about because you have written it by yourself. So use that help as a guidance, use that help to get an idea, but do not cut copy paste from chat gpt. That is an absolute no All right, so I hope this helps. What do we have next? All right, this is not going ahead. All right, some of the layout rules here. Like I said, 2 pages, a cover is necessary, but a cover letter can be a separate document. It not necessarily has to be on your CV. Again, have a cover letter as a PDF document, which is a separate document altogether, and 2 pages for your CV. Use the white space. Keep the layout clean and easy to read. Like I said, no multiple fonts, keep it consistent. The spacing has to be accurately and effectively used. Don't get it all together, because then it looks like all the information is just like sticking to each other, so you can't really read. Have it in chronological order. Your CV should reflect your professional story. Think of it as that way. If you want to talk to somebody about a story, or if you want to narrate a story to someone, do you start the story from start to end, like, or do you break the suspense and then begin the story? You obviously don't break the suspense, right? Like, you start the story from the start, from the beginning, and then automatically you build on it. So that's how your CV should be. It should start from where you currently working, what you did before that, what you did before that, and then it should flow as a story. You're showing them your timeline. So it has to be clear in terms of what. So don't start with what you're doing now, then start with something that you did in 2020. No, start with something that you're doing in 2024. Then go to what you did in 2023, then two, then one, and then 20. So go on like a timeline. Clear headings. If you have a certain format with your headings, stick to that. Don't mess it up. Don't have the current job with one heading, the past job with another heading. That's a complete no-no. Again, you're confusing your recruiter, and that's not what you want to do. Name and contact info is at the top of the page and references at the end. Don't have your references first. Have your contact information first. Again, that is the most crucial thing, because towards the end, you don't want your recruiter to scan through your page and find out, oh, all right, Gwen has given me her CV. Everything is great. I don't know where to contact her. If the recruiter can't find it in 6 seconds, gone. Your CV is gone. So you don't really want that. All right. Now, we also run a resume sessions where you can actually come up with your draft. Again, you can book a session with us. We run this on Mondays as well as on Wednesdays. Mondays from 3 to 5, Wednesdays from 4 to 6. So you can absolutely book. You have 2 sessions in a year that you have with us. So come up with your draft, whatever your draft is. Even if you've used the template that we've provided on this call today, that's fine. Go back after this session and try to build it accordingly with the headings that's already fed on that template. All you need to do is just cut, copy, paste, really, because we've done the work of giving you a template. So all you need to do is just go and add the information. If you want somebody from our team to help you to have a one-on-one discussion, this is where you could go ahead and block a slot. We have openings from Mondays from 3 to 5, and then we have Wednesdays from 4 to 6. Okay. We also have a lovely event happening, which is at the Melbourne Zoo. All right, this is happening on the 17th of April, and we're going to be doing a networking student. If you're here to also meet more like-minded people like you, you're more than welcome to be a part of the session. I'm going to keep this link open so that you register. And this is a great time to also do some Q&As. So let me just very quickly jump and see some questions that we've got here. All right, so Ronali says, I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. Can I get a copy of the slides, please? Ronali, we're going to be putting these slides up on YouTube. I know that you've given me your email address. Let me see if I can send this to your email address directly. I'm not sure whether we can, but this will be put up on YouTube by the end of day today, so you can absolutely go and get the slides out from there. I have a question about Word and PDF format. Some people said it is hard to pass the tracking system with PDF format. Is it true? Well, no, not really. We strongly suggest to put it in PDF. It's not really true that if it's not true that it's hard to pass the system, because more often than not, if your PDF is too heavy, that's when it gives you a problem. But I think Word is when there are issues ideally. So PDF is not an issue. So you can absolutely put it in PDF. I have never heard anybody say that it's hard to pass the tracking system. So you're fine. How can I avoid grammar mistakes since English is my second language? Great question, Gurpreet. So, what you can do is start Grammarly. Okay, have Grammarly installed on your laptop. So, the minute that there is a word that comes with a red cursive, Grammarly automatically corrects that for you. So, have Grammarly installed. I'm going to put it in the chat box here so that you have the link of it. Sorry, it went as space, but Grammarly. So have Grammarly installed on your laptop. It's a free tool. You don't really have to pay anything for it. So the minute you make a little mistake, which you feel like, oh, maybe it's not working out, or like, I'm not quite sure, Grammarly can fix that up for you because Grammarly will then tell you what are the other ways to correct this. All right. So Grammarly is your safe bet out here. All right. So are professional skills soft skills? No, professional and soft skills are two completely different things, including technical skills. Technical skills, your professional skills is one and the same. Where you talk about, like for example, can you tell me what is your major? What are you majoring in, Gurpreet? That's a really nice question. If you can tell me what you're majoring in, we could decode it for you right now. Again, can I have the slides? Well, because my class is going to start and I cannot screenshot these slides, we're going to have this on YouTube, so feel free to take it from there. I have a question about volunteering opportunity. I have done a lot of volunteering jobs in the past about 8 years. How many volunteering experience do you recommend to put? Ah, great question. Put the three most recent ones. I know that you've done it over 8 years. Put the three most recent one, the latest volunteering jobs that you've done. If you finished your volunteering in 2022, say for example, have those. Don't have those that you've done in 2014, 15, 16, 18. They're way beyond, like it's gone, right? So have the most recent volunteering job that you've done, have those. Sometimes industries want to hire a person close to their company. Not really, Gurpreet. I've seen the change there. Well, if you can, when you have your interview and let them know that you're okay to commute, I don't think that should be a problem. But very rarely you will find an industry who wants the person to be close to the company, unless if it's late hours or if the task is that involves somebody to stay close by, but very rarely. We've got another very interesting question here. I've attended various events, including career fairs, resume sessions like this at various places in Melbourne, and I have got a mixed response of the ideal length of resume. Half of them say that in Australia, generally a resume should be longer and 2 pages, while half of them say 1 page. I'm really confused. Great question. I don't know your name because it's coming as anonymous, but great question. So 2 pages is enough. Don't go more than 2 pages. The reason when they say that 1 page is enough is because if you've got a lot of experience, if you've got a lot of experience, you've already worked here for more than 4 years, then I can easily say that a 1 page is enough. Ideally, 1 page would also be fine if you've got not so much to say. If you're only going to be talking about volunteering, if you're only going to be talking about your course and you come as an absolute fresher, go for 1 page. Just don't add things just to make it 2 pages, right? Don't go beyond two, max to max. Like at least even 1.5 is also great. Sometimes you just want to put a little bit more, it goes into the next page. That's also fine. Don't worry about it. But yes, no longer than 2 pages for sure. You can definitely go for 1 page, like I mentioned, but that's again for those who have got a lot of work experience. For that, 1 page is decent enough. How about references? Yeah, add references. Add somebody you're working with currently in your part-time job. Add somebody whom you've taken up a course or say a project with in your college, and you can add them. Add somebody from your past hometown. I know it will be difficult for them to call, but you can obviously have their email address and let them know, right? So references comes right below. You don't need to have the references right at the start. And you can always say references available upon request. If they need it, they will ask you. How to write my career objective, a professional summary. Gurpreet, we've already covered that in the past, but let me know if you want me to bring that up in the questions and I can answer that for you. We've seen a few more coming in. Do recruiters use the application tracking system and how to maximize opportunities? Great question. So, what you need to do, very few recruiters actually use the application tracking system. This goes for when there are like a lot of CVs that come through. So a couple of things that you need to follow so that you could pass the system is to have consistency, have it in a PDF document, and have the relevant keywords. Go back to what the job is actually enlisting. Say, for example, if the job is of Gurpreet, you're a mechanical engineer, but let's take another example. Say the job is of an HR executive, right? The roles that they mention, they need somebody who can talk to people. They need somebody who has done recruitment in the past. Go back at your CV and tweak those words so that you use keywords from what they need into your CV. That way, it will pick up all those words. Those words are relevant words because that's what they're looking for. So that is your sure short call of passing the system because they know that you've got all those keywords that they need for their role. So that's a nicer way to sort of clear it. Sumit says, I am an international student, new year. So what can I include in references section? Well, you can actually have people from your past, your past experiences in where you worked before. If you don't have anybody from there that you could give, if you come here as an absolute fresher with zero work experience, with no work, with nothing that you could talk about, you could absolutely have somebody that you worked with in your university that you could add as a reference. Say you've done a project together, you could add your colleague, talk to your professor, maybe have your professor's name on that because your professor knows you. So that's why if you have nobody that you want to give as references, well, references is not a hard and fast rule. It's okay for you to skip that section completely if you feel like you've got nobody to really reference with. So you could just say references available upon request. And then when they ask you, you could go back and, provide references from the places that either you worked with or the people you worked with in the university. Hope that helps. Jessica, I have experience abroad in administration, but here in Australia, I only have experience in hospitality and cleaning. What experience should I put to apply since the relevant experience is only abroad? Yeah, absolutely add your abroad experience. If you have got experience in administration overseas in your hometown or wherever you work, absolutely have that on your CV. It is crucial for your recruiter to know that if you're applying for an administration role, it is crucial for your recruiter to know that you have done it in some shape or form somewhere in your professional journey. So add it. They know for the fact that you're doing hospitality now, you're new here, you're starting as an international student, they're aware of the fact. That's when in your summary, you will add that I am an administrator role, I'm looking for this role to get back into my field. And that's where you tie things together, right? So have that on your CV. Don't exclude that at all. Is the Study Melbourne Career Catalyst Scholarship internship a paid opportunity? I am not quite sure about that. Fill that, and if you're selected, we'll let you know. What else can I help you guys with? Or also, do all recruiters use the application? Oh, we've already answered that. Yeah, guys, so that's pretty much it for today, really. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was of some use to you. Like I said, please download the resume template. Everything's all mentioned on that. So you can actually tweak your CV accordingly, add details to the headers that we've given you. It's all mentioned over there. So it'll be very easy for you to sort of navigate and go through it. Yeah. Does anybody want to, have any other questions that they have? Do they want me to get you guys on? Should I get you guys off mute? If there's something that you want to actually say, please let me know in the Q&A and I can do that. Have I missed any other questions? Um, Not really. I think like almost everybody has been answered. But yeah, so how are you all right now with your CV? How many of you all have a CV? Can you even just raise your hand or put a thumbs up in an emoji on the Q&A section? Do you already have your CV? All right, great. That's nice, Emilia. That's great. Beautiful. So I will strongly suggest to download this template and see what are the missing links. Look at the current CV that you've got, look at the template and see what you've missed, right? Look at those objectives. Have you missed professional developments? If your current CV doesn't have that, add it. Have you missed the career summary? If you don't have it, add it back onto it. So look at the template and see if you really feel like your template's old, you want to use something else, you can absolutely go ahead and use this. This is just for you, for your use. So feel free to make the most of it. Yeah, guys, so that's pretty much it. We've got a short survey. Feel free to take it. I also have a bunch of bonus slides where I'm very quickly going to take you through it because I feel like you're asking me so much about professional development. So I'm just very quickly going to take you through this very in brief. So professional development, much like education, this is an opportunity for you to outline any further study that you've undertaken. If there is a course that you've done on HubSpot, Google Analytics, you've done anything that is beyond your course, that is basically your professional development. Um, what are technical skills? The specialized knowledge and expertise required to perform specific tasks. That's your technical skills. Your professional skills are more about your career competencies and your abilities. So it will be more like, like the previous slide. I know HubSpot, I know Google Analytics. That's more on your professional skill sets. And yeah, these were technically just bonus slides that I have for you, just for you to understand between the two, because I've seen a lot of questions coming through with regards to the difference between the two. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this, guys. Looking forward to meeting you all at the Intern Match office or at one of the Study Melbourne events. Please book a call with a coach for a Wednesday or a Monday 30-minute session. I think you will also benefit from it. We would love to see how you've used the tips from this session, and our coach can then guide you accordingly. All right, have a great day. All the best. Do you have any upcoming webinar on how to prepare for it? Yes, we do. In fact, that's happening on the 6th of April. There's an upcoming webinar on how to prepare or how to ace an interview. So look forward to that. Follow us on LinkedIn. We put a lot of our upcoming webinars on LinkedIn, so you can go and book your seat for it way in advance. And we'll see you there. All right, thank you so much for being such a beautiful crowd out here. You guys are fantastic. These questions were really amazing. I wish you all the very best. And in case if you haven't, we would love to see you at the networking event. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's happening on the 17th of April from 4 p.m. at the Melbourne Zoo. So it's not too far from where universities are. So hoping to see there. And if I'll be there, so if you are at the session, I would love to meet you in person. Please come say a hi. Tell me that you attended this webinar and we'll discuss more in length. All right, take care, you guys. And we're going to stop over here. Bye.